Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com coming to you with a Sunday morning odds update here for Week 17. Lots of moving parts. The odds screen looks like Clark Griswold's house right now with the way that it's lighting up. So we'll go ahead and run through some of the latest breaking news and also take a look at some of the sides and totals that are out there moving around on Sunday morning. Over at BangTheBook.com, we've got lots of great NFL content for you over there today. We got some fantasy pieces, including a daily fantasy update. We've got best bets, system picks, totals pick of the day, side of the day. We've got prop betting picks. We've got a Market Watch article showing you where sharp money is. Really, really good, wide array of NFL content over at BangTheBook.com. Please take a look around here and give that a look. We'll have an edition of Bang the Book Radio on Monday, no show on Tuesday, and then business as usual Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you missed anything on Bang the Book Radio, still some time to catch up with those last-minute segments, which you can find on our YouTube page and also find on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it. Bang the Book Radio's on there. All right, let's take a look at what's going on here for NFL Week 17. Again, lots of moving parts, guys sitting out, playoff scenarios, all that type of stuff. As I told you earlier on in the week, and I believe as I told you on Friday as well in the Friday Football Frenzy video, very good week for live betting because these teams will be scoreboard watching. Games that matter for, a lot of these teams have been grouped at the same start times. They will be scoreboard watching. They will be paying attention, checking their phones at halftime, whatever the case may be. So good day for live betting and second half wagering if you're around the TV, not running errands, returning holiday presents you didn't want, so on and so forth. So great day for live betting, maybe not the greatest of days for full game betting. But in any event, we'll take a look at what's going on here in the NFL market for Week 17. Beginning with Dallas and the Giants, first game by rotation order, game 301, 302. Giants a 7-point favorite. Announced this morning that both Ezekiel Elliott and Zach Martin will sit out this game for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott will maybe play a quarter or a half. This will be treated like a preseason game by Jason Garrett. But again, as I mentioned on Friday, a lot of fanfare, a lot of distractions with what could be the last game as a Giant for Eli Manning. Still like Dallas in this spot, even with this line going up. Total crashing on this game as well. Down from 43.5 to 39.5 or 40.5. So, obviously an adjustment there to Ezekiel Elliott being out. But keep in mind, too, with Elliott serving that suspension last year, the Dallas backup running backs have gotten a lot of work over the last couple of years, so they could surprise a little bit here in today's NFC East game. Oakland and Kansas City, still 14 across the board. Not really any changes for this game. Nothing new to report. It is a late game, so maybe Kansas City makes some late decisions. Sammy Watkins expected to be out. Eric Berry probably won't play. But still 14 on the side. Total 52.5. Carolina and New Orleans. New Orleans 7.5-point favorite here. The Buccaneers are going to move on from Dirk Cutter after the season. They've been linked to Mike McCarthy, which don't think that's much of an upgrade, really. But in any event, New Orleans going with Teddy Bridgewater here today at quarterback instead of Drew Brees. Maybe we'll see some Taysom Hill playing quarterback as well. But that didn't really make much of a move in the line. It was 7.5, 8 at the time. Still 7.5. So obviously Drew Brees built into the line here. So you don't want to overreact to that quarterback announcement for the Saints. Jets and New England up to 14, pretty much market wide. Total on this game 46.5. The Patriots obviously with something to play for here today. The Jets not so much, but likely the last game for head coach Todd Bowles. Maybe they respond, maybe they rally for him. But the bigger thing for me is how the Jets have played with Sam Darnold back in the lineup. Darnold very left-handed here today, missing a lot of his wide receivers and skill position guys. Maybe that has a big impact on him. But obviously for the Jets here, whoever they hire as the next head coach, Darnold's development is priority number one. Philadelphia and Washington, 6.5, the number on this game with Philadelphia, a road favorite. Total in this matchup in the 41.5, 42 range. Nick Foles, the Eagles expected to move on from him in the offseason. So a lot of incentive for Nick Foles here today to go out and have a really good game. I would certainly expect that he does. The Redskins injury report is absurdly long. Maybe not a whole lot of fight left in this team at this point in time. A little bit surprised we haven't seen this one go up to 7 market wide. Some of the more public shops, excuse me, some of the more public shops are sitting 7 out there, but most of the market sitting on 6.5. Detroit and Green Bay were pretty much 8 market wide for this one. As I mentioned on Friday, Matt Stafford is hurt. That back injury is a big concern for him, to say the least. So we'll see what kind of effort we get from Matt Stafford. I wouldn't expect it to be a whole lot. 8, again, the number market wide. And the fact that we're not seeing, actually 8.5 now as the odds screen updated, the fact that we're not seeing sharp money come in on Detroit against the Green Bay team with nothing to play for, laying more than a touchdown, suggests to me that Green Bay would be the side here in this game. You want to look for context clues in the betting market. I think that's one of them there. With Green Bay not seeing sharp money come in against them, I think it's a sign that Green Bay probably in blowout mode here today, and the Lions may be packing this thing in. Jacksonville and Houston, 7 market wide, likely no Leonard Fournette, probably a lot of TJ Yeldon and Carlos Hyde here today for the Jaguars. Obviously this is a spot where Houston has something to play for, but at the same time, they're not going to put anybody at risk here if they don't have to. Yes, they need a win, because then they would give up the AFC South if they don't get one. But with that 7 number, very scary to lay that type of number. Although, we do have Houston in the Golden Nugget, so hoping for good things there from the Texans. Total on that game in the 40-40.5 range. I actually kind of like the over a little bit in that game. I know that Jacksonville has an inept offense with Blake Bortles, but for Bortles here, obviously nothing for him to lose because a change of scenery might do him good, and I would expect Houston to try and get out ahead quickly and sort of put it in cruise control the rest of the way. Cleveland and Baltimore, this number's up to 6.5. This is a sharp versus public type of game. Cleveland, very popular in the Super Contest. They're a top 5 consensus pick. Baltimore, though, up from 5.5, 6 into the 6.5 range. So, excuse me, dealing with a little bit of a cold here, but Baltimore up in the 6.5 range. Sharp money coming in on the Ravens here for this game. That's a very interesting development as you look up and down the card, because the Browns, who I'm pledging my support for here today, have been a very popular public team throughout the season. This line moving against them, Baltimore getting that sharp money. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Atlanta 2.5-point road favorite in Tampa Bay. Total on this game in the 51 range. The announcement that Ryan Griffin was likely going to play some in this game for Tampa Bay is the reason why this line is moving. Dirk Koetter, nothing to worry about for him because he'll just go back to being a coordinator somewhere. Jameis Winston, who knows what his future is in Tampa Bay. But, the Buccaneers are going to fire this coaching staff. They're going to make some changes. And that's probably why Ryan Griffin's going to play today, as sort of a last parting shot from Dirk Koetter to the Buccaneers. The market has responded in kind by taking Atlanta with some sharp action here. Miami and Buffalo, 5.5, the number out there in the marketplace. Total on this game, 39.5. The expectation here that Miami has no reason or no desire to play in Buffalo here today, rounding out the season, playing out the string. Adam Gase could be on his way out the door. Buffalo playing very hard, good defense. Tough to defend Josh Allen when he gets those legs moving. But we haven't seen any movement take this number up to 6. Went from 3.5 to 4.5 and 5. Still sitting in the dead zone. So there must be some sort of resistance point out there in the marketplace on Miami. That is something that does interest me here. We're on Buffalo across all of our Super Contest entries and our Golden Nugget. But the fact that this line hasn't gone to 6 or higher does suggest to me that somebody out there in the marketplace with some influence does like Miami a little bit here to balance out the counts for this game. Indianapolis and Tennessee. Indianapolis up to a 4-point favorite. Announced today by Chris Mortensen that Marcus Mariota probably not going to play for Tennessee. Haven't seen a big adjustment in the market, though, to this number. Only up from 3.5 to 4. So maybe we're still waiting on full-fledged confirmation. But I would expect Indianapolis to keep getting public money throughout the day. We'll see if the sharp players come back in the other way. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. No Antonio Brown here today, probably for Pittsburgh. James Conner hoping to give it a go. Pittsburgh down into the 14 range. Couple 13.5s popping as well. Not a surprise to see Cincinnati a little bit of a sharp side. But again, a very, very tough bet to make here in Week 17. Chicago and Minnesota. Minnesota up to 6, 6.5. Obviously the expectation here that Chicago going to rest some guys. Very long odds for them to move up into the 2 spot and get a bye for next week. So we're seeing in the marketplace here that must-win inflation for Minnesota, coupled with some guys sitting out for Chicago. Total on this game in the 40.5 range. Chargers in Denver. Chargers up to a 7-point favorite market wide. Denver with nothing to play for here today. Obviously, the Chargers have something to play for if Oakland can hang around with Kansas City. I don't know if that's the case. I think you play the Chargers in the first half because they should be, obviously ready to go from the jump in this game. In the second half, we don't know what the Chargers will be doing because it will probably be dependent on what that Kansas City score is. If things don't look good for the Chargers, they may end up sitting some guys in the second half. So play the Chargers in the first half if you like them, as opposed to laying that 7 for the full game. Arizona and Seattle. Seattle 13.5 point favorite. Total on this game 38.5. Arizona, guys, gotten some sharp love here this season, although they're not a very good team. They're getting it here this week against the Seattle team with literally nothing to play for. Maybe Russ plays a half or something like that. Wouldn't expect him for the full 4 quarters in this game. Neither does the market, with Arizona getting some money. Then finally, San Francisco and the Rams. Rams up to a 10.5 point favorite here, which is very intriguing to me. I like the 49ers. I played them as my last Super Contest pick. But the fact that this number has gone up from 10 to 10.5, a little bit telling to me that maybe Sean McVay is going to play everybody a little bit more than I anticipated. Todd Gurley not going to play in this game once again. But, obviously the Rams, they've got some things to figure out here going into the playoffs. A decent performance last week against the Cardinals. Looking to get some more positive momentum going here this week. But, hey, we'll see how high this number winds up going. Again, when you see money come in on these teams that have nothing to play for, that is sharp investment, sort of reading into what these coaches are going to do. And it does look like maybe the Rams wind up, going for it here in this game a little bit more than we thought. BangTheBook.com is your home for all Sunday NFL coverage. We'll have a lot going on throughout the playoffs here as well. Again, tread lightly here, but look for those live betting and second half opportunities in Week 17. I'm Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com.